Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Unpopular Opinions with me, Randy Prizzle. How you guys all doing out there? Everything good, shway, crispy, Ari. But let's get on to the unpopular opinions this midweek. You don't get a +1 to a wedding. I think, obviously, it doesn't really matter if you don't bring a +1 to a wedding. I think sometimes it's the general consensus if you're just going there for vibes, or you go in there because you know the bride or the groom. It's not necessarily a thing where you have to take a +1 to a wedding with you. Like, listen, if you don't know anyone there, then what are you really doing at the wedding? That's what I say to those facts. Obviously, if you're going as a +1 of someone else. But if you're going on your own and you don't know the bride or groom, what are you doing there? It's a massive L. I think on those occasions, if you don't know the bride or the groom, you just came with some mates, then it's probably potentially good that you probably came with a +1. It would have made you look a lot better. But that's just my opinion. Next one. Not being serious in your 20s is a recipe for failure. No, it's not. No, it's not a recipe for failure. I think sometimes people still have to try and figure out where they want to go with certain things. And it's okay down the line to not be certain, to not know, or to get into something else and think, oh yeah, maybe that was the path for me, and maybe it's now not the path for me, maybe something else is now the path for me. So it's kind of one of those things where you start here, but you realise maybe that just isn't for me, and you want to do something else, or you just didn't have a plan, and then you're figuring it out and you're going, hey, well, that's the plan for me now. So I don't think not being serious in your 20s is a recipe for failure. I think sometimes you do need to have fun. You do need to go out and explore the world and realise what the world is about. And then later on, you can decide what is best for you. So that's just what I think on that. Next one. Alcohol should be viewed the same way we view drugs. I don't think it's in the same category. But I do think they're still as harmful, in a sense. I think obviously people who drink alcohol obviously can have the steps where they take which is necessary. I think obviously if you're on stuff where it's illegal drugs, and you're doing those things, it could potentially harm you down the line. Because obviously those things, taking quite a lot of it, can mess you up in certain different ways. They can cause a lot of things. Make you obviously not be aware of your surroundings or your surroundings or whatever you're doing. I think alcohol is a moderation thing, but I hear what this person is saying. I'm neither here nor there for it, but I can understand the concerns, because obviously if you're doing stuff like that and you're constantly doing things like this, even if it's alcohol, even if it's drugs, then it could be problematic. You could be having problems there. So I'm on neutral grounds with that one. Next one. The celebration of high school graduation is way overblown. No, I don't think it is. I think you need to celebrate when you've passed a particular subject, when you've worked your ass off, worked really hard. You deserve to graduate. And I feel I've already talked about this before, so I don't need to really talk about it again. Let's move on to the next one. Hairstylists, barbers, should be held accountable for bad haircuts, not giving you what you asked for. They really should be, because that's a fine in itself. To be cutting someone's hair and not be concentrating, not be chatting to your mate. Yeah, what I go on here, people them. Yeah, we're just cutting ear. No disrespect, obviously, the people out there, but majority of people who want to cut hair are of African or Jamaican descent. And they love to chit chat. They're not focusing on your hair most of the times. They're just focusing on a conversation with their brethren on the phone, or their people that's near them, having a conversation on sport, or having a conversation about a girl they linked. They're not actually focusing on cutting your hair all the way through. And then they jack up your crap. And then they probably say, hey, well, you know, it is what it is, brother. Or in African terms, let's say it in African way. It is what it is. You have to take it like that. That is how I cut your hair. You have to just accept it. That is how I done it. So it's kind of one of those things where if they don't give you what you asked for, you 100% should get a refund. Because certain barbers will be taking the absolute piss, just cutting your hair any style and go, well, you asked for a low fade, so I just gave you a low fade. But it's not actually the one you want, the one you pictured, the one you pointed to them and said, that's the one I want, the one that, one of these big rap artists has got, that's the one I wanted. And they didn't give you that. They gave you something that looked jacked off and said, oh yeah, that's what we could pass it off as. No. Next one. Anyone who says my truth is either unable to think logical or a liar. I don't think people say my truth, no. I think probably people have been building up to talk about it. I think probably it's a thing where it's confidence. Maybe they didn't have confidence to express the whole truth. They didn't have confidence to say the whole truth to everyone else. But sometimes you just don't want people up in your business. You'll probably want to express the truth when you feel comfortable with expressing the truth. And when you feel comfortable doing that is when you're speaking to someone that you're really comfortable with expressing the whole truth to. So I don't see it as, oh, you're unable to think logically or a liar. I just think sometimes your comfortability is when you want to reveal the whole entire truth to someone. Because not everyone needs to know the truth about you. Not everyone does. Because if you're just doing that, you just open your legs to anyone. Hey, come in, let's just have some fun. All of that, allow it. Do you know what I mean? So, but that's it, guys. That's it for this midweek episode of Unpopular Opinions. If you've seen this episode or any of the previous episodes, you know what to do below all of that. Big yourselves up, first time watchers, season watchers. You know we usually do it when we finish. Before that, subscribe to your boy, tell people how crazy, insane the member and your boy Randy Prizzle is. So till next time, and next Unpopular Opinions, I'll give my opinions and I'll react later on. Let's go.